Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel for another Genshin Impact video, and today's video is going to be another video about Childe. I know I've done a couple of videos talking about him now, especially because he's on the banner, but I've been getting questions about what weapons to use on Childe, also like what substats and what stats just in general to prioritize for Childe. Should I focus on crit? Should I focus on elemental mastery? And if I'm being totally honest, I actually accidentally built my Childe. He actually just got a ton of leftover and hand-me-down artifacts from other characters. So I haven't actually done a ton of testing on him. I just put some artifacts on. I was like, all right, this looks good enough. And he was hitting hard enough. So I went ahead and did some testing myself and decided I want to share that with y'all so you can decide what weapons and kind of how you want to build your Childe. Before I get into this video though, I just want to say please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does just go a long way in helping out the growth of my channel. I also stream 4 days a week over at twitch.tv/RichardOriginal if you want to go ahead and give me a follow over there. Streaming a lot of Genshin Impact these days if you want to go ahead and ask any more questions over in Twitch chat. So let's just go ahead and get into some of these tests that I ran. So to talk really quickly about the team comp that I'm going to be running with Tartaglia, this is often known as the Childe International team with Bennett, Xiangling, and Kazuha here. Bennett, when we use his ult, he's going to give a damage boost to everyone who's in the circle, as well as giving healing to anyone who's in the circle. Xiangling with her Pyronado is going to be able to easily set up Vaporize, so that way I can use that with Tartaglia. And then Kazuha here, because of Viridescent Venerer set, is going to be able to apply Elemental Shred. You could end up swapping him out for someone like Sucrose, who can do the swirls, as well as she can run the Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayer's weapon. So that's going to be able to like buff any character that comes after her in a rotation. So that's the general gist of the team. So let's go ahead and move into Tartaglia himself. So the first test I'm going to do is with Skyward Harp on Tartaglia. For a while, this was considered his best weapon overall. This has been replaced by the Thundering Pulse, and then even more recently, the Polar Star, which is on the current weapon banner. I don't have the Thundering Pulse or the Polar Star because I don't want to wail for every single weapon out there. Skyward Harp was the first ever 5-star weapon that I ever pulled from the standard banner, and so this is kind of what's been on him ever since. And it is a really good weapon because it does give you crit rate in the substat of it, and then in the passive itself it just gives you a flat 20% crit damage as part of the passive just for having an R1. So looking at his overall stats, he's sitting at 2.2k attack. If I go into here, you can see his crit rate is at 72% and crit damage is almost at 200%. So a pretty good ratio overall, I would say. His artifact set that I'm rocking is a 2-piece Heart of Depth and a 2-piece Gladiator. I would be running a 4-piece Heart of Depth if I had a better set than what I currently have here, but I don't. So here are the artifacts here. Go ahead and pause if needed. He's currently at Constellation 0. Talents are 7, 7, and 7. So I'm gonna go ahead and test out how much damage can be done against the Magukenki in the current 12-2 Spiral Abyss. Okay, so waiting for the Magukenki to wake up, and here's going to be our general rotation here. We're gonna start with Bennett and do his E and then his Q. Kazuha, same thing, E and Q, and then swirl for the resistance shred. Then we have Xiangling with her Q, and then I'm going to pop Tartaglia's Q in his melee stance, and as you can see there, 157k with his burst, and it looks like most of his autos are doing anywhere between 5k to 6k, and then some of the vaporizes because of Xiangling's Pyronado are doing anywhere from 19k when it's being a reverse vaporize, and then a regular vaporize, I think I saw a 23k in there. So really powerful overall for sure. Okay, now so for the next test, I'm actually going to swap out the Skyward Harp and try out the Stringless. Do keep in mind that my Stringless is R5, and with it being R5, it does increase the elemental skill and burst damage by 48%. So which is really great because we're gonna see a big boost in elemental burst damage. So when I hit his Q, and I do actually believe that this will affect his elemental skill damage when he is able to just do his regular melee stance combos, this will increase it by 48% as well. I know this is a R5 comparing it to a R1 Skyward Harp, but when I was doing these tests, I wanted to believe that a 5-star weapon was still going to be able to outperform a 4-star weapon, even if that 4-star weapon is R5. And also keep in mind that this Stringless is only level 80, whereas my Skyward Harp is a level 90. So part of me wanted to believe that the Skyward Harp is still going to outperform this Stringless, but as you'll see here, I think you'll be a little bit surprised. So the main thing here is that the crit rate and crit damage is actually going to go ahead and go down because we're switching over to the Stringless. Now it is going to give us quite a bit of elemental mastery here, which I won't lie, I tend to be someone who kind of writes off elemental mastery. When I get it as a substat, I'm like, okay, this will work overall for sure, but it's never something that I've really prioritized prioritized, especially for Childe. So going back over to his character page, you can see that his elemental mastery is actually sitting at 195. Previously with the Skyward Harp, the elemental mastery was only 44. So huge jump in the elemental mastery. And if I go into here, now we're sitting at 50 crit rate and 178 crit damage. So losing approximately 20 crit rate and 20 crit damage because of the Skyward Harp. But if we look up where it says elemental mastery, it says that it will increase the damage caused by vaporizes by 34%. So it's actually going to give us a boost because of how much elemental mastery we do have. I'm also going to be running the exact same artifact pieces and doing the exact same rotation as I did for the Skyward test. So let's go ahead and check that one out. So with the Stringless, I actually hit 194k, and that is a huge difference when it comes to the amount of damage I did with his Q. Now the downside here is that his normal attacks have dropped down a little bit to like 4.5 to anywhere like on the higher range 6k without vaporizes. But with the vaporizes, I am seeing like 11ks, 12ks, and when Xiangling's Pyronado actually came by, I actually saw a 23k on a vaporize with it. So that's actually kind of similar to the Skyward Harp, which I'm very surprised that actually turned out that way, considering we lost so much crit rate and crit damage. Goes to show that that passive of the Stringless, at R5 of course, plus all that elemental mastery, is actually outperforming the Skyward Harp by a pretty large margin, specifically for the Q. But even with that difference in the normal attacking, I still feel like the Stringless is hitting harder overall. So overall, I have to say that I've been really shocked at how well the Stringless is performing comparatively to Skyward Harp. Again, if you have Thundering Pulse or Polar Star, I'm sure those are blowing the Stringless even at R5 out of the water for sure. But if you are like me and you pulled Skyward Harp from the standard banner at some point and you have a Stringless, maybe a couple of them at a higher refinement, I would suggest you consider doing some tests for yourself. I know the Stringless is at R5, but I would imagine that even at like R3, it would still be really comparable to the Skyward Harp. So I hope this video helped you out a little bit. Let me know in the comment section below, what build are you running on Childe and what weapon? Were you surprised by the Stringless hitting as hard as it was, especially compared to the Skyward Harp? Or are you a pro unlike me who actually knows that elemental mastery is a really great stat to prioritize? So that's going to do it for this video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. It does just go a long way in helping out the growth of this channel. If you're still pulling for Childe or his constellations, good luck to you out there. And if you're pulling for Hu Tao coming soon, good luck to you as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.